Welcome back. I'm talking with Melinda Kramer, founder and co-director of the Women's Earth Alliance, and she's not waiting for the world to change. She is changing it with an amazing organization that she's created. It's 5 years old now. So, Melinda, I had the pleasure of hearing you speak at the 5th anniversary gala for your organization, Women's Earth Alliance, and it was such a joyful experience. With singing was just fantastic. Um, you talked about how we're all connected to each other on the planet now more than ever. And can you talk about that concept? Since I know some people think that, we should be just helping people here in our urban United States and not really being concerned about people at the other side of the globe.
I think more and more as we realize that we really are a global family and the connections, that the world really is small, and the more opportunities we have to connect through things like the internet and through video and through travel, and the more we learn about science and that we see that, that the pollution in China travels all the way to here and kind of joins the air in California, we can really feel viscerally the connection that we have across the world, and that the resource choices that we make here, the products that we buy, a lot of what you talk about, Beth, on your show, is inextricably linked to the lives and to the livelihoods and to the ecosystems around the world. And so we're learning ways to communicate that. We're learning ways to understand that as human beings. But it's really our responsibility, and it's an opportunity to consider ourselves a family and to know that we are responsible, we are part of the change, and that every choice we make is connected to a life
Right.
somewhere else.
It reminds me when I visited Cambodia, and we went to visit a child we're supporting at Cambodian Children's Fund, and there's a garbage dump there, and it's filled with our computer, discards, and the little children are picking through all of the components, and it's just, it really kind of made it really clear how our stuff is there and their stuff's here, and we need to kind of.
It's really true, and I think that knowledge is power. And like I said, there's many more resources now to understand where our stuff comes from and where it goes. And when we think about the choices of buying a water bottle, or just using the tap, when we think about the conservation choices that we make, we aren't just one person, because we are part of cultural trends that can move us into a direction where we create the kind of conditions that our children will want to live in, or we move ourselves to a future that is quite scary, quite unsustainable, and we have that choice every day, all the time.
Now, you have 3 programs, or programs, I should say, in 3 areas. So tell us about your work in Africa and their need for clean water. Let's start with that one.
Sure. So Women's Earth Alliance has 3 programs in North America, in Africa, in India, and then we also have a cross-cutting initiative that's more focused on an issue, which is water, our Global Women's Water Initiative. So in Africa, as many may know, sub-Saharan Africa really faces some of the most devastating environmental impacts in the world. And women and girls are really on the front lines of these challenges. And so these challenges would include things like deforestation, drought, floods, and other very acute climate change impacts that really are creating burdens on women's work. And that's work to fetch water, to fetch food, wood and fuel sources for their communities. And so what we're seeing is that just in women's basic efforts to access resources, that they're compromising their well-being, their health, their education, their livelihood opportunities, just as I had mentioned before. And perhaps the worst part is that women are often left out of decision-making processes, of development schemes, of training opportunities, of funding opportunities, and environmental policies. So our Africa program is partnering with African-based organizations to build women's leadership skills, to build their economic self-reliance, and to create opportunities for them to respond to these issues and advance their rights in food and water and sanitation and land. So in particular, what we're doing right now is really a focus on water. We have training programs that the ultimate vision is to build a cadre of women who are advanced trainers and versed in holistic water, sanitation, and hygiene skills so that they can go out and really multiply that knowledge by training others and teaching others in their communities.
And so tell us about the indigenous communities in the U.S. that you're working with. What's the focus there?
The focus there is really on land. And so, as you know, a lot of lands that were traditionally inhabited and held sacred or holy by North American indigenous peoples are today facing really severe environmental degradation. And that's from dirty energy production, mineral extraction, commercial development. For example, a third of Navajo Nation communities deal with the toxic aftermath of uranium mines. And other southwestern Native communities are facing really serious ongoing water, soil, and air contamination. If you looked at the statistics or the test results, anyone would just be outraged. And so our program is linking a lot of the leadership. There's a great movement of resistance efforts, of leadership in indigenous communities. Many of these organizations and groups are being led by women. And so our North America program is linking pro bono legal, policy, and business advocates from around the country with these indigenous women leaders who are working on grassroots environmental campaigns. And so they partner together to move forward on these campaigns and in the effort to really protect these sacred sites, to promote energy justice, and to really ensure environmental health ongoing for indigenous communities.
Fantastic. And then in India, you're working with agriculture, food.
Mm-hmm. So in India, more than 84% of women are involved in agricultural activities. So most of the food being produced in this country are being produced by women. But ironically, they own less than 10% of the land. And just similar to Africa, there are recurring droughts, floods, and a lot of changes in the rainfall pattern that, of course, directly affect these women as they are creating farming livelihoods. And a lot of the industrial agriculture that has found its way to this country and many parts of the world is threatening the health and well-being of these farmers and their families. And so our India program is really focused on providing ecological farming training, so sustainable farming training, appropriate technology, rights education, and seed funding to women and farmers so that they can go forward and really improve their food and economic security. So that's really some of the focus areas of our work. And just to simplify it, we have 3 key strategies. Training programs, which is really focused on building the capacity of local women leaders. Advocacy, because it's so important that these women are going out there and advocating for their own rights and for their communities. No one should be advocating for anyone but themselves, and so for them to be able to have the support to do that is really crucial. And then we're really focused on storytelling, on communicating the leadership and the success stories that are happening around the world that many might not know about. But once they hear and realize, wow, there really is a movement of local leaders who, with very little, are doing a lot for this world. And that really impacts people.
So when you say storytelling, are you storytelling within the communities, or are you talking about storytelling outside?
Well, we have a lot of fun with storytelling. We have a website with many videos, and we have an event series where we really try to integrate the voices of women leaders who, for a long time, their voices haven't been heard, and putting that at the forefront through a lot of creative media strategies. So it's a mixture of in-person events and social media and web-based tools.
I see. Fantastic. And for more information on Women's Earth Alliance, people can go to women'searthalliance.org.
That's right.
So, Melinda, what are you most proud of?
I think I'm most proud of the people I get to work with. It is just a delight every day when I wake up and I know that I get to co-create with bright minds, with people who I see as real vision keepers, who are courageously stepping forward, not because any of us have the answers, but because we care. And the community that is surrounding this work is what drives me every day, because it's really in the end of the day, I believe in people. I believe in the vision and the goodness and the brilliance of people and the power of coming together and standing hand in hand around the issues that we care about. So it's just it's enriching, and it's so moving for me to get to meet and work with all of our supporters, our team.
Right. You have a very impressive advisory board. Can you tell us a couple of the people on there?
Oh, our advisory board is wonderful. They are our friends. They are our mentors. People like Joanna Macy, who has been doing environmental work for decades. She's an author. She's an environmental leader. She is a Buddhist philosopher. She's been very supportive of WIA, as well as people like Kavita Ramdas, the former CEO of Global Fund for Women, who has just been guiding the way for many organizations around the world as she really stands for women's role at this time and women's rights and the justice for women and girls. Mm-hmm. And then people like Paul Hawken, author, environmentalist, and entrepreneur, who has really carved out a place inside of the business community around sustainability, around thinking about social justice, and his perspective in our work has just been tremendous.
Right. Well, you are just such an inspiration, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Beth, and I think you're an inspiration.
Oh, thank you. So I've been talking to Melinda Kramer from WIA, Women's Earth Alliance. For more information, go to women'searthalliance.org. I want to thank you so much for listening today. For podcasts and more information on my show, visit yoursupernaturallife.com. You can also download the show on iTunes. You can find my book on Amazon or on my website, supernaturalmom.com. And if you type in supernaturalmom.com/free gift, you can download a free 20-question quiz from my book to help you determine where, when, and how you are unwittingly being exposed to dangerous chemicals from everyday products in your home. Plus, you'll get tips on ways to have a super healthy home. You can also take advantage of my expertise where I come to your home and help you turn it into a safe haven. You can email me at beth@supernaturalmom.com for more information. We'll see you here next week. We have a great show, and have a supernatural life. I'm Beth Greer.